guys, and welcome back to part 2 of the video. So, we left part 1 by creating our grid layouts, and so what we're going to do now is we're just going to continue by adding our device first. So let's do that first, because this is where we're going to start actually populating the boxes with our devices. So, how do we do that? It's straightforward. Click on devices and right click, and we're going to click on add device source. So we're just going to go down to Fibaro, and here we then enter our details for our Fibaro install. So I'll do that now. Usernames, password, and then of course what version we have, so that's HomeCentre 3. Click on OK. It's now top left here, you will see Fibaro is now installed, created, and then these are all the devices that we have and all the scenes, etc. What I have found is that the quick apps do not get transferred across just yet. So on a HomeCentre 2, we have the virtual devices do come through, but unfortunately the on HomeCentre 3 quick apps do not come through, so we can't utilize that just yet, unfortunately. So I'm hoping that the designers for HomeRemote can implement that sooner, so that we can then start using that as well. Alright, so what should we start with? Right, if we go back to our Excel to remind ourselves. So we've got camera front, camera back. So to do what we do is we're going to create our little boxes for the camera images. Now I found that the video wasn't very good. It needed extra resources and it just wouldn't work. So I found a workaround, and that is we're going to install it as a web image, which we then refresh every second. So the advantage I think on that is we'll get an image every second coming up on the display rather than a full moving image. So theoretically it will use less resources and less memory. So, and also we only need it as a guide as to who's on the door and things like that, because we've got our other programs, for example our recorder recording all the images in real time anyway. So let's move back to here and click on the web image, and we're just going to draw the image inside this box like we did before, and I'm just going to make sure it stretches to the full screen. And here, if you can see now, we've got a web image. Now it plays in the grid here. So, and then of course grid 0, row 0, so we can leave all that alone. In here we're just going to name it. So mine was camera front, so I will just name it as camera front. Here's the area where we would create our auto refresh, and I will put this down as every second. Now the source, this is where we actually add our source. So this is where we put the URL in for the device. URL for the device. We will come to these later, as we'll be using them later. So what is the URL? Okay, I will put this on the comment section, but this is how the URL is supposed to be for our cameras. So we'll copy that and I'll paste it in here. So the structure is, so this is for Hikvision cameras, by the way. As you know, I use Hikvision all the time. Now if you have other models, other brands of cameras, you are going to have to search online to find out what the streaming URLs are for the pictures. So this one is the full URL for our Hikvision cameras. So all we have to do is substitute where it says username, password and IP, and that's it. So I'll put this on the comments like I said, and then just click on OK. I'm not going to fill these in now. As you've seen, it's already working. So then that will give me my camera image for the top left. We're now going to do the same, but for that one was the camera back. So all we do is click on the web image again, open up, create our box, change that to full margins, and then we're going to name it as camera back. And again, we're going to do the auto refresh and change that to 1 second. And in the source, we are going to add in, again, the username, password, IP, just update that and leave the rest of the path the same, and that's it. So there, we have now created camera front and camera back, and we can see it from here as well. So it's all being done. And that's literally all we have to do for the cameras. We don't need to do anything else to any of the other property settings for these particular buttons, because all we're going to do is we're just visually looking at them. Now, let's move on to the next row. So, we're going to start off with the easy ones. So let's start off with these three: top, middle, and bottom, and boost for the tank temperatures, as they're the quickest and easiest to do. Okay, so these are just temperature, and we're going to create a button. All right, so that's on this one. So the first one we're going to do is the tank top and middle. So we are going to have essentially a label. Actually, we're going to have two things. We're going to have a label to tell us what it is, and we're also going to have the actual device itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create a grid, a row grid in here. So if I click on that and create it as 4 rows, I'll tell you why in a second. This is to help justify the text that is going to be here. So I can now have the text just in that box there alone, and the actual device in these 3 rows alone. So the whole thing is justified nicely. So let's start with the label, and we're going to make sure that the label is within just this small box. So we're going to make it full size for the time being. We are then going to name the text tank top. So as you can see, it's now changed. So what we're going to do is let's justify it to the center, and we're going to change, let's have a look, text alignment center, text wrapping is no wrap. So let's keep it at that. Font size, let's change the font size to be a little bit bigger, and so 20. So this is a case of experimenting with the actual size of the text. The vertical alignment, let's see if we make this to center, and it now pushes it into the center of the little row that we created. Okay, so now that looks okay. It's a case of experimenting with what you like. So these are all personalized to your likeness, basically, to your individual requirements. So I'm going to click on tank top again, and I'm going to change the color. So this is where you would change the color. So say yellow, and anything you like. So, and background, I'm going to leave the background as it is, as no color, so we use the page's background color as standard, which is there. If you do want to change the background in the outer thing, you can actually change it from the outer grid here, and that's when you can then change to whatever you want. So for example, green, and that then changes the whole page to green. Those web images are above, that's why you can't see it. So let's just go back to the default on that one. So let's cancel. So there. So let's just keep it as a black background for now. So where are we? we're on this label. So, oh, I forgot to do something. I forgot to label my label. So this one was tank top. So at least then we know what we're going for when we're having a quick look and when we want to make any changes. So that's the tank top done, and I think we're happy with that. So we've got standard fonts, standard font weight, we like bold and things like that, and you can do all the changes here, decorations, you know, with the drop down, underlining, strike throughs, etc. So you can experiment with all of these if you want. Now I'm going to click on the next box, and we're going to put another, label text in again, and put that inside there. And again, I'm just going to do the same. Reset to default, and font size 20, and tank mid. We know we're not going to get the full word in, and then just do the alignments to center, and vertical alignments to center, and foreground color to yellow, and OK. So that's it. So that's our two labels complete here. Now what we're going to do is we need to actually get the device. So we're going to be using a text box. So then again, but this time we go over the three boxes because we want that to appear as one big unit. And we come over here. Oh, look at that, we forgot to label our label. So let's quickly label our label before we forget. And this is tank middle. And the text box is going to be our tank top device. Okay, so what we're going to do, again, we'll make the box nice and big, and let's just add our device first. So how to add our device? Where we got, right, this is our text box, so we need to input text in here to show our actual device. But it's a dynamic, we want it to come from Fibaro. So what we do is text. We then click on this box because we want it to be populated by the device. Now, we're not going to write text in here like we would normally do as a static text. We're actually going to be going for device bindings, because when I click on that and drop down, these are the Fibaro devices that are being inputted. So this is where we want to get our device name from. So click on there, and we're going to start typing, and tank top, and we want the temperature. So boiler room tank top, and I click on OK. And so now that has brought the temperature into there. We won't see it until I'll show you now. So if I click on here, click on home, and I hit the play. Now, I haven't mentioned this earlier, but this is what we call, it's got a simulator built in. What that means is I don't have to keep on saving it, transferring it to my phone, playing it, seeing how it looks like, then go back to the Windows, making the changes and backwards and forwards. The good news is these guys have actually built in a simulator program inside it, which is brilliant. So all I have to do is hit start, and it will then display what the temperature is. The cameras here would have displayed their data, but because I don't have the URLs populated properly, they don't display. So here, tank top, tank middle, and it's 44.8 degrees. But look at that icon, I'd rather have it a little bit bigger. So what we'll do is let's change the fonts and things like that on here. So hit stop, and make sure it's highlighted, so tank top device. This is why, another reason why we like to label it there. And let's change the color to yellow, the background to no color. Okay. Font size, let's try 40. Let's go down to horizontal alignment and vertical. No, they're all okay. Let's do that to center. No, we won't. Let's leave that as stretch if I remember correctly. Here you can actually adjust the that's the layout of the columns, but we're not going to play with that either. Let it do it automatically. So hit play again, and it's there. Oh, sorry, I've just remembered. This won't display properly until it's actually on your phone or iPad. So we will have to, unfortunately, wait until we put it on our phones to see how it looks. Okay. Oh, forgot about that. All right, let's do the second one then before we go to the phone. So we're now going to do the same thing. Go into controls and text box and go across this, same as before. And this one is tank middle device. Background is no color. And foreground is yellow. Font size, I think we said 40, so let's do 40 as well. Let's give it a go. And text is going to be our tank middle. And we want the temperature. I'll click on OK. And don't forget to change our margins. Okay, so let's hit save. Now that we've hit save. Okay, now what I'm going to do is let's bring it up on our phones. Okay, so and then we'll see how it looks on our mobile phone then, shall we? Right, so we're now on my mobile device. So if I click on Dropbox, so here's my Dropbox HomeRemote file, and as you can see, if I refresh it, it was saved about a minute ago. So if I click on that, it's now going to open it with the HomeRemote app. So this is what we created earlier on. So as you can see, here's my tank top and tank middle, but look at the icons. The font is quite big, too big to be honest. So I think we need to reduce that down. So it was 40 last time, so I'll probably reduce it down to around 20. So what I'll do is I'll keep this running. I'll quickly go to the PC and I'll quickly make those changes to 20. And that was the middle, and I'll make the changes to top and hit save. So I've hit save. So now what I do is I've got to go back out, refresh. Let's hit save again. That's it, refreshed. Now hit HomeRemote. There we are. So that's, first it was 40, now I've put it to 20. Still looks a little bit too small. So what I'm going to do is let's do 30. Let's do 30 instead. So just to let's do 30. Okay. So and again we're going to hit save. And then I'm just going to refresh the screen again. Give it time to refresh. 14 seconds, perfect. Click on that. That's better. 30 was good size, so you can use that for next time. And also what I'll try and do is the horizontal alignment. If I do that to center and tank top, horizontal alignment to center, and hit save. So this is what you're going to see if when we were playing with the layout. So save that again. So I'm just going to keep refreshing. Perfect. See, that's what happens when it does to the center. So that's not going to work. So what we'll do is we won't do that, get rid of that, and put it back to stretch, and we'll put that one back to stretch. Actually, I might try width is 45. Gonna try something, and then I try that to center. Yeah, that might work. So I'll put that to 50 and change that to 50 and change that to center. Let's hit save, and let's see how it looks. I'll show you this when we get back on the desktop. So that's got saved 3 seconds ago. That's all right. That's getting there. We're trying to centralize it rather than be not in the center. So let's make that a bit bigger. So from here we know that the width of the handset is 360. That's how we've created it. So if we divide that by 4, which is 90. No, it doesn't work that way. So let's make that a little bit bigger. 60. That's 80. Let's make it 80. And 80. Hit save. Yeah. As you can see, this is the type of stuff you have to do when you're working with these type of dimensions, and you've got to experiment. So that's 54 degrees and 44, and I think that's correct because it's 54.0 degrees on the tank itself. So we can quickly check that, and I can just log in. Yes, the tank middle is exactly 54.0 degrees, so it won't show the dot zero. So I'm happy with that. So let's get rid of that page. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this recording, and we're going to go back onto the desktop. Okay guys, now we're back here. So I just want to go through some of the changes I made whilst I was on my mobile. So let's go back to tank top. So what we did was we changed the font size to 30, as that's what we found that worked. Further down, we moved the horizontal alignment to center. But what we had to do, we had to specify a width for the boxes, otherwise it didn't center the box properly, because we just said be dynamic or be flexible, and that was no good. So we had to make sure that the horizontal alignment is centralized. We do need to specify a width of our box. So this time we specified the width as 80. As you can see, this is what it looks like on 80. If you want, I could probably get away with say 82 or 84. As you can see, the size of this box is actually increasing. 85 there, 85. So we'll do the same for this one. Change it to 85, and it makes it into almost the full width of our little column that we've created. So that has done that. So font size on these ones, so we've done the text box for the tank top, tank middle, and we've known how to add the device. So all we're going to do now is we can, to make it easier, what we can do is we can then hit copy, paste, and the label, copy and paste. So this one is going to be the tank bottom device, and this one is oh, that's not the right one. Let's delete, and it's that one we need to copy and paste there, and we're going to call that tank bottom. So label tank bottom. So let's first of all let's move this to the correct column. So this is based on the outer section. So we're on grid row 3, but column. Oh no, we need to move it. We need to move it onto this side now, don't we? So what we're going to have to do is hello. It is, yes. Yes. Yes, mate. Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh. Then it'll have to be black then. Yeah. No, we'll do that then. Yeah. Alright. Thanks. Bye. That's recording. Yeah. 4, 3, 2, 1. So, this grid, this part of the grid is actually under tank BB, as in bottom and boost. So all we do is just grab it and put it in there, into there, and same with that one. And we drag it and we put it into there, so it then jumps into the correct boxes. Okay, but we also then want to create our rows. So let's create our rows. And then, as you can see, it's automatically been moved to the correct slots. So that's the tank top device, that's the thingy bottom. So what we're going to do is we need to move this back one. Okay, so it's grid column 0. And there, so that's now moved into the correct section. That tank bot is in the correct section. And so now, as you can see, we've just saved a lot of work just by keeping all the dimensions that we want for everything, because we know these dimensions work, these color schemes work. There's only one thing left to do, and that's to change the device binding. So we then click on here and then type in tank bottom and temperature, click on OK, and if I hit save now and press play, we've got our tanks at the bottom. So on here, yeah, as you can see, it doesn't justify the text properly as it does on the mobile. So we've got tank top, tank middle, tank bottom. Done. If I wanted to write these out completely, I can do, but then I have to reduce the font size. So again, it's personal the way you do it. And then finally, we're left with the water boost scene. So let's create a label box, and just going to call that. Again, I want to reset that, and we're just going to call that boost, and it was a font size of 20, so we'll put that there, and remember to label the label, so I'm going to call that boost. And if I go to text alignment, put it to center, and vertical alignment to center. So that then puts everything in its correct order. and bring that to yellow. And now all we need to do is we need to run a scene. Now, scenes. This is our first scene that we're going to be running, aren't we? So what I would like to do is I'd probably go for creating a little icon. So inside the images folder here is where all our icons are. Sorry, that's where all our icons should be. So we need to add an icon image. So we can click on images, add image. So this is my icons folder, and we need one for water boost. So I can choose any of these icons. So where's water? Let's have a look. Let's show these as extra large icon. No, large icons. So let's just scroll down these and just choose. Let's just choose something like that. Bathroom red. Click on open, and it will add it in to our images. So here's my icon that I'm looking for. So I'm now going to click on image button, because that's what it is. We're going to create a button and put that into here. I will then stretch it. Oh, you can see a mistake, minus. I've actually gone into the other box. I don't want to do that. So let's click on back. We'll highlight this again, and I'm going to do image button again, but this time I'm going to make sure I stay within the confines of our little box. Then we just click to reset to default, and we're going to call this our boost button, as that's what it is. We're going to change the background to no color, because our image file is going to take care of it. This is where it's image. So this is, as you can see, this keeps constantly changing depending on what type of button or image we're going to be using. So let's click on image, and the value we're going to use is bathroom, and it will come down automatically, and click on OK, and there's our image button. So we're happy with that. I'm happy with the size and everything. Over again, you can use other feet. You know, you can actually use all these, put paddings in, margins in, even rotate it if you wanted to. Now, this is our first bit of automation coming up. First of all, this is going to be a normal button, as in we just click it and it does something. It's not a toggle switch, just like for example the lights that we're going to be doing on the next section. So this is classified as what we call an event trigger, because when we click it, something happens. And here we have the actions. So an event. Here we have the collection called action collection. So this is what happens when the event is done. So here we have chosen, there's a few different things, but this is the most suitable one because we're going to be clicking the icon. So we leave that on click, and as you can see, it was the default setting, so you don't need to change it. Then we click on collection, and it opens up another box. Data action is pre-filled, which is what we want, because this is what's going to happen when we click the button. And the binding, this is now where we link it to our water boost scene that we've already got in our home centers. So we'll click on this icon here, the ellipse, and we are binding it to a device, and I'm going to start typing in water boost, and it's the scene I want to run. So it's a waterboost.scene. The good thing is none of these have got spaces in it, so you can just pretty much type and it will shorten the list. You can type it by room name, item name, scene name. The operator is going to be equal because that's what we want it to do. And for a scene, it's actually just run. The value is always run, and then it will actually run that scene. Click on the exit, and that's it. So event trigger, collection, clicked, and that is our first scene run. So if I click on save, and I'm going to run the simulator. So we've got our 3 different tank temps, and then I've got a button here that I can actually click and it will run the water boost, but I'm not going to. So that's how that is done to run a scene. So now what you've worked out is how to create our little labels, how to put them into wherever we want them to, the design. We then got data, so just simple data extracted from the HomeCentre and displayed. And then we've also created a button with an icon and the boost button. And that's it. So I think we'll leave it there for part 2, as it's been a little bit longer than I wanted. But when we come back next time, we'll go through the others. Okay, so any comments, questions, please leave them, and I'll see you in the next one. Let's see if you guys can create the alarm scene buttons and the status buttons here. Well, not the status, at least the alarm scenes, because alarm here, here, and here will be very similar to this one, because it's we're running in 3 scenes. Okay, I'll see you all later. Bye for now.